found this in Gunner room. Gunner mirror me.
What is it?
Well, it's
Synthaholics.
In my gravity boots, I'm stuck walking the hole with a pounding in my skull. Ain't nobody knows which way the solar wind blows. Better than a man being blown.
Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Aaron O'Brien.
And we have special guests with us again, Holly Michelle.
The returning champion.
Hello.
She survived.
Still here.
We are.
Are we tasting now?
Oh, yeah. You know, we were going to talk about that before.
Talk about what before?
About your drinks. They were going to review that.
Oh, but I've been making drinks. I did on our YouTube. We've got our podcasts are starting to go up there automatically each week, but that's just like listening to us and a flat picture. So I wanted to start making a couple other videos. So I made a Cooking with EU video where I'm doing Klingon blood wine, and then I did a review of it because people were asking how does it actually taste. And then I recently made something called a Borg Sphere, which is from the Star Trek Las Vegas Quark Bar restaurant. It's very tasty. I have not done a Cooking with EU on it, but I probably will in the near future.
You should. You should. Dress like a Borg, too. just
Borg Klingon. Like, I don't even have a Klingon outfit,
just
so...
tape a bunch of, garbage to your face.
Tape a laser pointer to the side of my head.
Oh, gosh.
Well, while enjoying the refreshments of the Borg Cube, we are talking about Borg on this episode. We're talking about the Federation, the Enterprise episode Regeneration.
It would be cool if it was called Federation. If they wanted to get away from the Star Trek name, but then you just called it Enterprise, and I'm like... It's Star Trek Enterprise, and then they finally added Star Trek into it later. They should call it like Federation or something if they wanted to get away from the Star Trek name.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It had an interesting beginning. So, Regeneration Enterprise Season 2, Episode 23, thank you. And it first aired on May 7th, 2003. This was written by Michael Sussman and Phyllis Strong, and it was directed by David Livingston. And everybody here...
David Livingston, I presume?
David Livingston directed 2 of the Next Generation episodes, 17 Deep Space Nine episodes...
It's a name you might see pop up every now and then.
28 Voyager episodes and 15 Enterprise episodes.
So he has Trek cred.
Yeah, he has 62 episodes under his belt.
Wow.
And he also wrote the Deep Space Nine episode for the first season, The Nagus.
I love that episode. It's like one of the better episodes in the first season.
Yeah, he wrote that.
The interesting thing about this episode is that he apparently is like a quick and dirty director as far as his filming technique goes. Mm-hmm. And reading the Memory Alpha, they actually had to film extra scenes for this because the original cut was too short.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's like a ninja with it. He just does it quick and efficiently, and then we need more stuff. It's too short.
Did you ever see Johnny Depp's Ed Wood movie?
I have not seen that.
Have you seen that? Where he's a director, he cross-dresses?
No, I think I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Well, anyways, he's this guy who he would do a scene and he wouldn't do any other takes. It would be like, that's fine. He'd be like, well, Don't you want me to do another take or do a different... And it's like, no, that's fine.
Like George Lucas?
No, even worse.
Worse than George
Was
Lucas.
the director or the actor?
Ed Wood, he's a real director. He did this movie. It is panned as one of the worst movies ever made, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I've seen that.
Yes.
It is terrible.
It's a terrible movie. And it's an old black and white, like 50s, 60s movie.
If you want to torture yourself, watch Plan 9 from Outer Space.
You should watch it.
If you want to have fun with Plan 9 from Outer Space, get a bunch of sarcastic friends over and pretend like you're Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, yeah.
That'll make the movie entertaining, but don't just sit there and watch it like you're going to watch a regular movie.
Exactly.
Seriously?
You must mock this movie as you watch it to get any value out of it.
No, it's one of those movies you watch and just have a big laugh because it's so hilarious.
So bad.
One of the famous actors in the movie is Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula, but he died in the middle of it. So then he has just some guy just walking around with a cape over his mouth, so you know his face, so you won't see it. But it's not Bela Lugosi after that because he died in the middle. And if you see Ed Wood in the movie, they go through the whole thing, how it happens, and it's actually because it's done by Tim Burton. It's pretty fun. Anyways.
Okay.
Again, we are way off topic, and we haven't even started.
That's how we roll.
So everyone, the writers too, have a lot of Star Trek cred. Strong and Sussman, they have just. If you look at their Wikipedia page, they're all Star Trek. So pretty amazing. Anyway, so we get this is an interesting because this is a tying in to First Contact. The movies, which I'll talk more about it, but if you haven't seen it, it might be a little weird.
So this is I actually told Holly to watch First Contact and then watch the episode because I know she hadn't seen First Contact in a while.
Yeah.
So it might make things easier as a transition. So it's a good recommendation if you're not recent with Enterprise, watch First Contact and then watch this episode. And they tie together actually really well.
Yeah, they do. They do. Kind of like a nice little epilogue.
It's like a prequel sequel.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Hard to even explain. Well, time travel. So it starts off, actually, this is where it starts off interesting. It starts off in the Arctic Circle, and there's a scientific team, and they find a crash site, and while they're uncovering the crash site, they find the Borg. And it's like, dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I love how one's like totally encased in like a brick of ice, and the other one just got a couple
his feet hanging out,
a couple snowflakes on him,
like the Wicked Witch of the East, and her
Too
feet's
bad his
hanging
feet
out.
didn't curl up whenever they wiped the snow off of
That'd
his
be
face.
hilarious if it did. Take her shoes. So these three scientists, they set up like a little area, and they're obviously brought the bodies in, and they're investigating, and they're looking at what these creatures are.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
At this point, there's not even been any discovery of what their species is.
Right.
In fact, Borg isn't even said the entire episode, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that way it would have been documented.
Right. Because they don't even, when he talks to Archer, there's like resistance is futile, whatever, but they don't say we are Borg.
They don't even address themselves.
They don't say we are Borg.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I guess they just figured that they knew.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting the beginning of this because they're in the Arctic Circle, because you don't even get the cast of Enterprise until like the second
until after the sting, yeah.
So they're got the bodies, and it's kind of creepy. Like they got these they're
just laying them out on regular medical tables that they've brought up to the North Pole or South Pole, whichever one they're at.
Yeah, and what's funny about it is like all scientists, they always think they're de-thawing, and they're noticing all their systems are coming back online.
Oh, look, they've got nanotechnology. Oh,
they're repairing the shell.
And the mechanical things. It's fixing that stuff, too.
And the one scientist says to him, well, maybe we should refreeze them because, they don't look very friendly.
Right.
And I don't know if they have good intentions. He's like,
don't judge a book by its cover, dude.
Yeah.
Basically, that's kind of what...
And doesn't that always get Archer in trouble constantly?
Yeah.
Archer's always like, well, aliens, they must be one of our friends. No, they don't want to be their friends. They just want to take your ship and enslave you.
Or make you do a strange chainsaw ceremony wearing nothing but pants and feathers and stuff.
So what we do on the weekend.
Yeah.
So
After the podcast.
Chainsaw sculptures. So the Borg, of course, they do come back online, and one of the scientists are sitting there trying to have a cup of coffee, and he just gets...
He does the klutz thing, drops his coffee. But the funny thing is, before he drops his coffee, the guy walks in, and he's like, yeah, I'm armed, I'm good. And then he, sets the gun down. I'm like...
Well, they always do. Every horror movie...
And he's got his back to them? Like, if you're worried about them coming alive and attacking you, why are you your back to the things you're scared of?
And I like how the sign.
He wasn't worried that they were going to attack him.
He
He
was-
was
he-
totally at peace with the fact
But he had the gun.
He had it probably just to appease everybody else. He didn't actually feel that they were a threat.
I like how he goes to him and says, "Feeling better."
It'd be funny if you just caressed his face. It's like, are you better, honey?
Well, they did start feeling better. They came back online, and unfortunately, the scientists are all assimilated, and they go quiet.
But that little tractor just keeps running back and forth in the scene, the exterior scene. It must be going on its own.
And then they
What
jump.
are you talking about?
Oh, just in the exterior scenes of the Antarctica shot, there's like a tractor
Yeah.
that moves back and forth. It
Oh,
just
really?
goes back and forth. And I think it's still going back and forth.
That'd be hilarious.
When they
Yeah,
were-
Just like
it's just
it's like a
going on its own.
Roomba. It's like a Roomba just going around, just picking stuff up. No one's stopping it. So
Great if the Borg assimilated that too. We got a Roomba. It'll
Oh.
clean up the ship.
at least the floors will be clean. This place is a pigsty.
Actually, you do see the inside of the ship they did. It's pretty clean. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's really nice
Come on.
floors.
Borgs are
You could eat off that.
Borgs are immaculate. Come on. So then they cut to Starfleet Command. They rush into the Admiral's office like, the Arctic team haven't been heard from over 3 days. He's like, we better get up there. Like,
Is that a long time? Is 3 days a long time?
and
Do
when
we care?
does an admiral care about some Arctic science team? You know, it seemed like a little bit like the look on his face, like, oh my god.
Admiral Forrest must be like in charge of everything.
Yeah. And I like how he goes up there.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's only been like 100 years since Zephram Cochrane around this point, and Zephram Cochrane was in the post World War III era, where like I think they said like 80% of the world or 90% of the world was wiped out from World War III because of the nuclear blasts, whatever. So, I mean, it's only been 100 years. The world might not be too populated yet, so maybe
That's a good point.
Maybe he's admiral of everything.
I'm admiral of everything. Well, yeah. So
Admiral of Starfleet, Admiral of the North Pole team, and Admiral of like the Deep Sea team.
well, I guess too.
3 teams.
I guess too with the technology, just to get to the Arctic Circle probably is like a 20-minute ride. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not long. You just
Oh man.
Well, even though they're scientists, so they're recording things and they're logging things. So if no one's logged anything in 3 days, obviously something's wrong.
What are you guys doing up there? Come on,
We haven't found anything interesting to log.
we're really drunk.
We're just banging a lot. Sorry.
Sorry.
It keeps us warm. It's cold up here.
We played chess.
We hung out with the Eskimos.
We'll bang, okay? The penguins don't want to hug us anymore.
No, there's no penguins in the.
Oh, it was the North. It's polar bears. That's what they were
Polar
scared
bears.
of. Yeah.
You don't want to hug a polar bear.
Haven't tamed them yet in the 24th century.
A lion tamer. Well, there we go. Then we jump to Enterprise. Admiral Forrest does contact the Enterprise because I guess the Borg stole the Arctic shuttle, or I don't know what kind of ship it was. It was a transport, and it's
Warp 2 transporters.
and they
Modified it. And
yeah, they souped it up pretty good, and they put the flames on the side.
They put some NOS in it so they can go in overdrive.
It used to be a little clunker. Now it's pretty sweet ride, and they're flying
Checked
through
out.
space, and they're almost going warp 5, which is pretty. I think first they're doing warp 3 something.
Like that ship's only a Warp 2
3.9 or
ship.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then so Enterprise goes to intercept to find out, but they come across their the Borg are attacking another ship.
A Tarkalian freighter.
Tarkalians.
You hear about the Tarkalians all the time. I think this is the first and only time we actually see Tarkalians.
Is it really the first time?
I think they mentioned all. I think the Memory Alpha said I think this is the first time you actually see a Tarkalian on screen.
Okay, all right. Well, they're cut.
And the last. As they're vented out into space after they're assimilated and escape.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the Tarkalians' ship is being cut up. Enterprise goes to stop them, and the Borg take off. But at the meantime, they try to pick up the survivors, which have already been assimilated.
Yeah.
Phlox brings them in, and
Phlox makes the same stupid mistake.
they always do.
And he's like, "Oh, they'll be fine. We don't need any extra security here."
Yeah. But and that's the thing is what they the Borg. You always get in trouble because of your humanity, because you actually care for people. And you're like, oh, I want to help them. No, don't help them.
Right.
But I love how Phlox just knows all of Captain Picard's lines from First Contact. Don't let them touch you. He said something else too, but that's that Picard said. But
I wonder if he watched all the.
Yeah, I think he watched First Contact, and it's like, oh yeah. He's like, don't let them touch you.
Right. So
what else did he say? You watched it today. He said something else that Picard said, I think.
Well, I don't think he said anything that Picard specifically said, but when they run away, when they get out of the infirmary, he's like, they've gained extra strength. They're they have
enhanced strength.
Yeah. and then he says, "Don't let them touch you."
Yeah, but I thought he said something else in a different scene that was nothing else out of Picard. It's been a couple of days since I watched it.
Well, so while they're tending to the aliens that have been infected with the Borg nanobots, they're already growing appendages. They kind of wake up, and then they just attack Phlox and the guard.
I love how every single alien that attacks the Voyager that's in the med bay, they always go the ladder. The Suliban did it in the first episode. The Borg did it.
You said Voyager. It's Enterprise.
Oh, sorry, Enterprise. But there's that ladder in sickbay. Everyone always uses the ladder.
Archer should walk in. He's like, we got to take this damn ladder out of here. It's like, get rid of this thing.
Why is there a ladder in sickbay? That's like, it's always the aliens. Always the aliens that wake up from sickbay. They always go up the ladder.
So the
Is it a ventilation system?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just why is there a ladder there?
I don't know. It's a good point. Well, in the Tarkalian / Borg that go up the ladder are into the little junction tubes through the Enterprise. They start going in and modifying something. The ship. I have a hard time understanding why it's so hard to locate them, because it's like they went up the ladder. It's like, why aren't they there in
on 10, all exit points?
5 minutes.
Right.
Why is it so hard to find them and they just shut them down as fast as possible? It's like they're looking around for them. So Reed goes up looking for them.
That's a funny thing to bring up, because they're so slow.
Yeah.
It's almost irritating how slow the Borg are.
Yeah, you're just like,
well, they weren't fully Borgified yet. They were still mostly Tarkalian. So they actually did a couple ninja moves on the security team. Borg were way more fighty, aggressive than they usually are. I've never seen a Borg throw someone like that.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, but that with that in mind, they just sometimes they're so plodding. You're like, come on. But they are a little zombie-ish.
Yeah,
they do play it up super zombies. Oh, I've been infected. They throw off infected a lot.
So the Tarkalian Borgs infected Phlox, but not the security guard. Security guard actually made it through, didn't die.
Wow, the red shirts that live. That's weird.
Yeah. So Phlox is going to start having the nanobots
in his system.
Yeah, changing him.
And he's like, yeah, I shouldn't eat because it'll make them work faster.
It'll increase my metabolism and...
That's kind of smart, I guess. Although, he's the only person I've heard of that's resisted Borg assimilation for almost 24 hours or something like that.
I don't know if it was that long, but maybe it was.
I mean, it's usually people are assimilated within minutes. And he resisted it for at least a couple hours, if not a day.
Which I found interesting that Tarkalians and Phlox, that they can already be assimilated just by the nanobots. They don't need the prosthesis that they hook onto them. Which is interesting. It's there's nothing else that's just... I mean, you could become Borg without... getting an arm or an eye.
Well, yeah, it happened
legs.
in First Contact. Remember, what's his face? The new comm officer
Hawk.
Hawk. He got assimilated
Can't
through his suit.
believe I remember that.
Yeah. He got assimilated through his suit, and he started sprouting things on his face when they were all on the hull. Mm-hmm. And he started sprouting robot things. I was
you see that in all of the ones that get prodded.
Yeah, they get
pronged,
the prong.
Their skin changes, and then you see little bubbles, and then the metal pieces start to come out
of their face.
I think the metal pieces are probably I guess the nanobots can construct basic networking stuff.
Yeah.
That links you, and then I guess you need to go through surgery to get the crazy arms and the eye pieces that see nothing but subspace or whatever.
Well, I want to just bring out real quick was that the. While they're up there in the, it's not even engineering. It had to do with the warp fields. What the Borgs were.
And luckily it's on the very top of the ship with a a little hole that'll open up.
Yeah, but so they're in there, and you notice while they're doing all the work, all of a sudden, like
They just stand, and then all this stuff just
machines just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like, how the hell does that work?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's like you're not magic.
It's just like
nanobots are magic.
Nanotechnology, I guess. It
I
just
guess.
kind of-
Couldn't be modeled. Nanobots. They see nanobots a lot, so nanobots.
Nanobots.
Robbie and shout out to you guys. And Hobart, nanobots.
So they had to let the Borg transport go when they were trying to help the Tarkarian survivors, and so the Borg ship is flying off into space, and they're taking chase to it. Meantime, Reed's trying to engage with them and finds out that their phasers do nothing to the Borg, and they leave him up there for a little bit while they retreat. And
Is there a way we can jettison them?
Well, what happened is that they do find that the Borg ship is they catch up with it and they start to engage it, but then the Borg kick in some kind of transmission and it shuts down their
engine,
warp field
because of what the
the Borgs did to it.
Yeah.
And so the Enterprise falls out of warp and the Borg take off. And then they decide, well, we got to get rid of those Borg, and they just shoot them out the airlock.
Yeah, because Archer was like, I really want to save them. I really want to get them back to the Tarkalians.
Well, and I like that even before he wanted to go to the Borg ship, and he wanted to save the human from the Arctic expedition as well. But
yeah, he was saying that too, but it's just like...
after he sees them, like, no. Nothing, I can't save them.
Yeah.
So Phlox is continuing to change still. He decides that he's going to flood himself with radiation.
He's going to nuke himself, and if that doesn't work...
He's going to put himself in the microwave.
if that doesn't work, some neurotoxin.
Yeah, just shoot me in my... Give me the worst...
It's the cure!
Just kill me.
Killing me is the cure.
Just kill me. That's the cure. And it's funny, too. Here's another... I thought it was a bit of a stretch.
He probably killed all his potential children by microwaving himself, though.
Never have kids again.
He's got 3 wives and a bunch of kids already. I think he's good.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think he's good.
I thought this was a stretch that Archer at one point is in his ready room and he's looking at the videos of speeches of Zefram Cochrane.
Oh, I love that.
And he says, like, he talked about a group of aliens.
Like a college speech, too.
Yeah, college speech that these aliens looking to enslave the human race and stuff, which is all, talking about first contact.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Everyone's like, oh, he's drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like... But, like, that Archer remembered that he said that.
Right.
Like,
Well,
I thought he was reading the speech, though.
He was, but he said, I remember him saying this, so I went back and I looked through his speeches, and this came up. It's like,
Right.
Why would you...
Well, he idolized Zefram Cochrane. I mean,
He did
that's
mention
like
that.
the first episode. He always looked at, he built the first warp in it, and he was...
I know, he was friends with his father. Yeah.
And then his dad was building the next generation of warp engine. So
Right.
I guess he idolized him.
No, I understand it, but that he would remember that he
Yeah.
gave some offhanded remark in a speech.
Well, I watched the the special features with the first contract film, and they actually said that Zefram is in the pilot episode. So I mean, it's not the first time he's been brought up.
Right.
So.
And he's in Metamorphosis in the original series.
And he's in Babe the Pig. Oh, wait, no.
Babe the Pig.
he's in Babe the Pig.
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie.
It's Zefram Cochrane.
He's actually he's in a lot of movies.
He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
No, but it's just like I just remember like seeing previews for that, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. This is the stupidest thing. Why is the guy from Star Trek? As a kid, I was like, why is the guy from Star Trek in a stupid movie like this?
That's funny because in his interview, I was watching his interview, he had said that not a lot of people who come up to him know him from Star Trek. He says that it's very rare that people recognize him from Star Trek. So it's funny to hear you call him the Star Trek
See, I'd
guy.
probably just call him and say, hey, Zefram Cochrane.
Right.
But
Because I don't know his actor's name off the top of my head.
He's also played a lot of aliens in
Jimmy
Star
or
Trek too,
James or
throughout
something.
the series. So he's a big Star Trek alumni.
Right.
As far as he's guest starred a bunch of times. Yeah. And in the movie, I thought it was great. I loved him as Zefram Cochrane. Although I still think it's funny in Metamorphosis, where like they have the other Zefram Cochrane, he's like not drunk at all.
Right.
No,
Did being stranded make him sober?
and and not to mention he's a big strapping man compared to the lanky.
guy.
Yeah. You should watch Metamorphosis. It's the original
I
series.
saw clips of it on the
you did?
the extended.
It's okay.
features.
Oh yeah.
It's an interesting episode. It's not like you're not gonna write mom and dad that you saw it. So
Right.
No, but just to get your full dose of Zephyr Cochrane and Star Trek lore.
that's when you know you're in deep.
When you're idolizing Zephyr Cochrane.
Well, we did an episode, The Booze Hound from Bozeman.
Booze out of Bozeman. That was our third or third
episode.
Yeah.
We just talked about Zephyr Cochrane.
Oh, really?
The entire episode was a Zephyr Cochrane episode. That was a listener request early on.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
so weird. We talked about that.
It was a fun episode, though.
Yeah, we had some fun. I haven't listened to that one in, over 2 years. So Tucker is trying to remove the Borg circuitry. They're trying to catch up. They're back into warp, and they're
Can't
trying.
take it off as fast as it appears.
Yeah, apparently it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
But when he does get it, he just lifts the cylinder out.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's the way you need to do. Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
That was it.
No, that was good. That
Super
was really-
easy.
It's like,
Takes him forever.
which
to get
part does it? It's like he was trying to play Clue.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it the butler?
Right.
This is the butler piece. I got it.
Reed, with the security guards, they go to modify their phasers, and they figure out a way that they could get a higher yield from their phasers.
That was one of the extra scenes they added in.
Which is good because I don't think the story would have made a lot of sense. Because
Then all of a sudden they're able to shoot them when they weren't before.
right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so they about an hour later they're going to target the Borg's EPS manifold. I guess there's like a shielding gap that they think they could take it out. They're catching up. The Borg ship's going up to warp 5, which is almost Enterprise's limit.
Yeah, that's it. That's the limit. I mean, that's the theoretical limit. So, I mean, once they're in next gen, if they go past warp 9, it starts to make the ship shake. If they go up to warp 5, that's
And they're going transwarp in next gen.
Yeah.
So it's not even the same scale as this. So, so they catch up with them and they start attacking, but of course they don't have any way to stop themselves because the Borgs are shutting down their
they're shutting
systems.
their weapons, yeah.
And then the Borgs show up on the ship, they beam aboard, and then Archer and Reed decide they're going to beam aboard, which is unusual for Enterprise because they almost never beam.
almost never use it, especially this early. This season 2, it's really weird for them to use the transporter.
So they beam and they're going to go to the EPS manifold and try to take it off from inside.
But they always check to make sure they're there. Once they transport, we're going into a deadly place. But here, let's make sure my liver's there.
Yep, my pants are still on. Okay, we're good. So of course, they're met with the common Borg assimilated areas where they're against the walls and they're in sleep or rest mode, and it's disquieting, to see that. And obviously they've never seen that before. So and they're
they don't understand
all new
the
to
gravity
them.
of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just okay,
yeah, and
keep quiet.
I love how it's just like one hallway, and they keep just going back and forth with
The hallway,
for like the entire ship. I mean, it looks good, but like I was watching it pretty carefully. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much the same hallway.
well, but Reed and Archer start fighting with the Borg and exchanging phaser fire, and at the same time the Borg is attacking the Enterprise. The Enterprise shielding is just completely falling apart because they can't. And then, like you said,
Hull plating's at 23%. Like the thing that strikes me funny about the hull plating is like, hey, it's at this percent, but like, is that everywhere or is it just in one part? Like, which I don't understand how hull plating works.
I don't either.
The way I always envisioned it was like they've got like a team of Mexicans on the ship who are like just tacking on extra armor underneath where they're getting shot.
it's like roofing tiles.
Yeah, they're just like experts.
Hey, I put them more on.
Oh, jeez.
No offense to any Mexicans or anything. It's just some random weird thought because people always joke about if you go to Home Depot they'll come help you out if you like.
That's where Tucker gets all his engineering people.
They just like started banging on like extra hull plating underneath where they're getting shot. I'm like, it's just like, how does that work?
Jeez.
No, I think hull plating is just like they must be special like shielding, like steel, and it might have some reflective properties that disperse the phaser fires and stuff like that.
Maybe, I don't know. It just always.
It's not shingles. It's not shingles.
I just thought they had like extra metal plates that just like tacked on underneath the other stuff just to make sure it doesn't like cave in. I don't know. I wasn't sure how it worked. It was silly. I was like, just as a kid.
Silly.
As a kid, I was envisioning like, what are they doing? They just have a team of people that just died, just like hammering on extra
Maybe they're robots.
plates.
Mexican robots.
Oh, that's true. I think it's siesta. We're not putting it on.
Cinco de Mayo. All right, so Enterprise is getting trashed by it. Phlox is getting worse, and he decides to put himself in the microwave.
Mm-hmm.
He's like security guard. Okay, don't shoot me. Just press this button.
Press this button.
Just press this.
And
That's all you have to do.
And if I don't get better after this, then kill me.
Yep.
So. Obviously, Reed and Archer, when they're on there, they do get rid of the. They find the EPS conduit. They put their bombs on. They beam out just in time. The Borgs take it
They're
off,
taking them off, and they just blow up in their hands. Like,
and
yes,
the
that's
board
effective.
and the board ship explodes.
It would be funny if they would have started like chucking them, like down the hallway.
Yeah, and it does nothing.
they're just like trying to hold the wall.
Yeah,
I want to
Like-
say something that kind of bugged me. So you know how we know that like if you fire something at them, they're going to adapt after so many like hits
Shots.
of whatever.
Right.
You see that like they fire a phaser at the girl once, or was it a girl? I don't know.
yeah. The one girl from the Arctic.
Yeah. So they fire a phaser at her once, and that she like absorbs it. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
So then they go back doing it, and then she's got the shield.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the Borg are simultaneously like attacking the crew on the different ships, the ones on the Enterprise
And they adapt really
shielded,
fast.
Yeah.
but the other ones are not.
Yeah,
so
aren't
how
they?
come?
Aren't they
they're a hive
talking?
mind.
Yeah, aren't they
should have
talking? You're
been able to be shielded at the same time,
Right.
and I just kept waiting. I'm like, how did he fall?
And there's
He
only like
shouldn't have
20
fallen.
something Borg on that ship. I didn't think about counting, but I was like, I think the body count's getting pretty high for like.
well, not just
only
that.
like 20 something people on the ship.
Right, and the Borg that were on the ship that invaded during the firefight is they beam back over.
Yeah, there were like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, they beamed back over because I think they
back over.
realized they weren't going to make it, because they had to regroup their troops. So they did realize that they sent out a message at the end, and it was going to take them 200 years to go out to the Delta Quadrant. He said, so what's going to take them to,
They were just delaying the invasion.
yeah, which is exactly what happened.
What happened in
Yep.
First Contact? It's just like a circular. That's how time travel goes. It's like this big circle. But it's such a fun episode because
It's a fun like how to introduce the Borg without making it into a big thing.
yeah, like I mean, as much as I like Acquisition, the episode where they bring in the Ferengi into Enterprise, I was upset that they did it because there's like you're not even supposed to know what the Ferengi look like until Next Generation. I mean, like, why don't the Vulcans know? I mean, T'Pol's on the ship with them. Like, I just don't understand that, and they never said the name of the race on the episode, but nothing makes sense about that episode as far as, like, in the timeline. Yeah. This episode made perfect sense because they springboarded off of First Contact. They went back 100 years before Enterprise.
Right.
They blew up a Borg sphere. That, let's say some of it landed in the Arctic, and they just unthawed them. Like, it works.
But my issue here is that, okay, so maybe this is just a small chapter in the history of the Federation and Starfleet, but wouldn't there be some kind of record of all this, that the scientific team found these, creatures, and that, maybe just a small footnote in the whole everything? But it just, to me, was like, when Picard, finds, when Q helps him find the Borg.
They probably only sent, like, very preliminary stuff.
Yeah, but
to them, and then they all got assimilated and they left. So it's not like they had like any of the detailed notes. Probably went on the ship with the Borg.
Yeah, but
Borg assimilated.
Yeah, but they must have like we were saying before, is that the scientific team up in the Arctic probably were sending their findings back to Starfleet headquarters, and when they hadn't heard from them for 3 days, they're like, okay, what's going on? And after that, it's just that why wouldn't that be like in like the Enterprise D's database, that like, oh, there is the Borg and they are coming, and this is what Q's given us. Like, why wouldn't they be more prepared and know that there's a race out there like the Borg? I don't know. It just seems like one of those things that, they're even like Section 31 should be working on this or something like that,
That would make sense, but like they're like, 200 years. No,
And,
maybe people forget.
and
Probably.
it would have made Zaphram's like statements during that speech.
Yeah. It makes it real.
yeah.
It's not just some drunken musing,
Affirm it,
you know.
yeah. So it should be taught in their history.
Yeah. I don't know. That was my biggest issue after seeing it. It was like, okay, so, I mean, it's a cool story, but why wouldn't there be any kind of information in the future? Like, if they somehow, they lost all that information, like it all got destroyed.
Well, like the Arctic team got disbanded, and then all their notes got put in this file vault, and everyone forgot to go look at it later. it probably got forgotten through bureaucracy.
They should have ended it like Raiders of the Lost Ark. People have to be looking into this. We have top men. Who? Top men. And then they show it like the Ark, and they're like rolling it down with all the cargo, with all the boxes, and the Ark is hammered up right next to it, and they push it along.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
It should have just they should have
And they play the same music.
But yeah, I could see like bureaucracy just losing the records.
Sitting on it.
Yeah, I mean it's 200 years. I mean,
So the Federation of Starfleet is to blame for the Borg invasion even more.
or whoever runs. Oh yeah, Admiral Forrest. He was the admiral.
Admiral Forrest.
He was the admiral. The
How come
Arctic team.
Commander Shelby didn't find all this information when she was Borg expert?
Maybe she did. And she just didn't tell anybody.
Ooh, she had the inside edge. She uncovered those
Maybe
files.
that's the only thing. That's because she was making all these plans against the Borg. Maybe that was the only thing she could find.
And if she found those files in that gigantic vaults of all those crates of, why didn't she just take the Ark of the Covenant out and stop the Borg with the Ark of the Covenant?
Just look away.
You just look away, and they all start melting.
Well, maybe they don't believe in God hard enough for that.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Nazis don't believe in God. They just melt. Doesn't matter.
I guess.
I don't know, maybe Nazis believe in God. I don't know what they believe in.
Maybe some of them.
Some do.
I heard recently that there's a Nazi church.
There are a lot of Nazi
That's
churches.
ridiculous.
Oh,
What
yeah.
the hell is that even? I don't even understand that.
There's a lot of stuff like that nowadays.
Is that where the KKK goes to church?
No, there's Nazi. There's Nazi. It's scary.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. So, thoughts about this episode after watching? What did you think seeing this episode?
It developed slowly. And the shield thing irritated
I'd
me.
watch a 2.5 hour
But-
movie for this terrible episode. Is what Holly's thinking.
No, it wasn't bad.
Do you watch Enterprise? I mean,
I've watched the first season of Enterprise on Netflix.
it's like one of those things you watch and you're like, whatever.
I hate the opening music.
Oh, it is pretty
Oh,
bad.
I hate the
So,
opening music too.
It's not something I know. It's not something I'm like. Oh, I really want to watch Enterprise because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I got to hear that song.
I just skipped through it. I just fast forward.
Yeah.
The thing is, I used to back when it was on TV. VHS was still a thing, and my dad would have to go to a meeting or something like that, and I would. He had David, make sure to record Enterprise. I'm like, okay,
Did you wait until the song was over?
Oh no! I played the beginning, and then you hit pause since that stops the recording. So I'd pause when the song started, then I'd pause again when the song was over. So I'd cut the song out to make a better version.
Nice.
But the thing is, as I've gotten older, I've kind of the song is less offensive to me because Star Trek's been off the air for so long.
Offensive.
Now you pine
It's
for it.
less of, the song is less offensive now. Although in season 3, when they do the remix version, that's still really
that's
bad.
yeah.
It's even worse.
I like season 1 version, but when you get in the later, when they have the drums and keyboards,
It's like everyone hated it. So okay, we're gonna. I think it's the only time Deep Space Nine
what
changed
was
music.
it's like when they updid the thing in Return of the Jedi and they put in the new band playing in Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
You're like, why did you fuck with that? It was awesome. What was it? What was his name?
Max Rebo.
Max Rebo.
Yeah.
Why did the Max Rebo band get the singers and stuff like that? Just have them playing the jazz. Yeah, no, just have them playing the jazz like they did in the beginning. That was cool.
I like Max Rebo.
Yeah, Max Rebo was good.
But they remixed the music, and it's so. I mean, if you hated it before, you're gonna hate it even worse.
Yeah, I did.
When you get to the remix,
You're
it's
not
just
selling me on it, just so you know.
But season 3 and season 4 of Enterprise are really good. The song is terrible.
Yeah,
like I said, after it being off the air for 15 years, I don't fast forward through it as much anymore because I'm like, I missed Star Trek. It has been a long time.
It has been a long time.
It's been a long time.
So you saw some holes in it. Anything else after seeing it? It's not like I said, like most amazing episode you've ever seen. But I thought it was interesting that
It's cleverly done for the most part.
that they could tuck the Borg into this, into their
and make
prehistory.
it work like 80% of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
I thought it was clever.
It's got
that
some
they did that.
continuity errors, but I mean, there's been much worse continuity errors. Threshold.
What about you, Dave?
Oh, it was fun. Like I liked getting to see this episode again. I forgot that Phlox got assimilated. I was like, he gets assimilated. I don't remember that. How is he in season 3 and 4? I forgot. Like I forgot that he got assimilated.
I don't remember.
I guess it's been a long time since I've seen Regeneration.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long
Oh,
time.
God.
Getting from there to here.
Never going to get away from that.
I forgot that happened, and so it was weird, like being surprised by Star Trek. I was like, no, not Phlox. Phlox is like
Because I know you do like Phlox a lot.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in Enterprise. So I was like, oh no, don't do that to Phlox.
I at first got scared when she was like feeding his worms and he gave the worms a look. I was like, is he gonna like assimilate the worms?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Assimilate the worms.
Now you don't need to eat the lettuce.
Imagine like those little just crawling around the ship infecting people.
I saw a picture. Someone did assimilated Tribble.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
It's hilarious. He's got
a wire and a laser beam on the side.
Yeah.
Hoshi's also one of my favorite characters. I'm kind of sad. Like she had like that one line when she came in and talked to.
There's not a lot of parts in this. Like Mayweather's hard. Like Travis hardly in it.
Travis is hardly in a lot of it though.
He's got some episodes.
Oh, he's got some episodes, but I mean, like I feel like Hoshi's usually
Hoshi's more
of
prominent.
a main character than Mayweather ever really was.
Yeah, true.
It's just, and I also read a lot of stuff that Mayweather was supposed to be like the first gay character for Star Trek, but like they never. I mean, his character almost never had any plot points except for his family, and then
on the transport.
On the transport. Then they never really went into that. And he was talking about the Delton, so it sounds like he was kind of straight. In that one episode, so.
I do like it. I like the idea to do this, but sometimes I feel like they're just doing it to make people happy that there's a Borg episode in Enterprise. Like, because obviously the Borg's popular, and it's like, oh, let's put Borg in. It's like, do we really have
I think that was a lot of the first 2 seasons. They're like, oh, let's put something that everyone loves in it, like the Free. Let's do that.
I know. I just wish they would just like, you have like this beginning, of the Federation Starfleet. Why don't we like have a lot of fun with it and do stuff that,
Let's do like a whole bunch of Telluride episodes. Let's do a whole bunch of Orion episodes.
Yeah.
There's like, what, two or three Orion episodes? Like
right.
Only 1 or 2 Telluride episodes?
Yeah.
I mean, at least we get the Andorians, spread throughout all 4 seasons a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's all these great TOS era races, and they just like, hey, let's bring in TNG races, because everyone likes those. I'm like, well, why?
Yeah, because he mentions the Binars.
Oh yeah, they did mention the Binar. That was a cool little reference.
He threw that out, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that Archer, could recall a speech from Zephyr Cochrane that he gave at a college. Do you know how many speeches like any prominent person does?
Lots.
They do a lot. It's like, and that he remember.
It's like not the Bill Gates, but the Steve Jobs.
Yeah, like if you could you remember every speech that Steve Jobs ever gave? I mean,
no.
I mean, maybe if you were a huge fan of Steve Jobs.
I like Steve Jobs a little bit, but not that much.
Not that much.
I don't know. I think if I grew up like hearing about some, mechanical zombies trying to enslave Earth, and then I saw something that kind of looked like a mechanical zombie, I'd
That's a
be
good point.
Why does that seem familiar to me?
Or maybe it was one of those things that you get
those terrible black and white movies that they watch in Star Trek.
Well, maybe it was one of those who said that? I can't remember.
Captain Proton?
No, I'm thinking one of our astronauts saying that he saw like UFOs up there. I forgot which astronaut it was.
Glenn?
Was it him? I can't remember. But it was like one of those things that people like always go back to because he mentioned that he saw things that he couldn't explain up there. You know, and
well, a lot of conspiracy theories say like there was like a whole alternate reason for them going to the moon because they were trying to find some.
Okay, let's not go down there because
like in Transformers, that one movie. Yeah. No, sorry.
But I mean, like I suppose like maybe because Zephyr Cochran made some offbeat comment, then all these conspiracy theorists all going like, "Oh, he's racist." They're gonna, you know, like there's all these ideas.
I also love how they just like, "Oh, he's just a drunk. It's fine."
Right.
Yeah, too much to drink.
He must have had too much Borg Sphere before he came and talked about the Borg.
Yeah.
It was funny to me too that, like, you know, Jordy was talking about how important he is to their history and how respectable he is, and then you see that he's not really that guy.
He's like, I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
I just want to drink and get surrounded by naked women. And
but then he's not seen as this respectable guy on the Enterprise show. So
but the
it's
thing,
kind of weird that they were like.
But maybe
that's 200 years removed.
I guess,
though. Well, that was 300 years removed.
Yeah.
By it's 300 years removed. It's 100 years removed by.
Kirk's era.
No, Archer's era.
Archer's, yeah.
100 years removed and 200 by Picard.
But I think I think you're right. I think it's like anything. It's like the more time goes away, we kind of
you lose the finer details. You just get like the broad strokes. Oh, he invented warp drive, so he must have been a great person. Right. And then you get the parts where he wasn't drunk. And then those are his good quotes.
Well, I mean, it's like saying, people obviously always praise Abraham Lincoln, or something like that. It's like, well, maybe Abraham Lincoln was good for a lot of things, but maybe it was a lot of stuff that, was not good. And I bet you if you sat down with a historian who's read all the articles, read the letters and everything, maybe there's like a whole bunch of stuff that was not very flattering about him. I mean, I don't...
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, my dad's like big on not liking Abraham Lincoln, but...
that bastard freed the slaves. No, but I think that's one of those things that that history over time overinflates something. So Zephyr Cochran gets overinflated.
Abraham Lincoln gets overinflated.
Yeah, anybody, even Steve Jobs, like a lot of people say he was a giant asshole.
He was.
But he becomes a super genius that give us all these gifts,
Yeah, he's both. I mean, people aren't just the one thing they're remembered for. They're so much more. Mm-hmm. And I think this is, a good way to put it out.
Right, yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, this episode, it kind of frustrated me in a lot of things. I didn't dislike it. It's a fun, like most Enterprise, it's just a kind of a fun adventure, interesting. I did like that the Borg were completely destroyed, so obviously there was no way they're going to retrieve anything from it.
Yeah. Well, watching it years ago, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, like I remember, I guess I remember not remembering that they stole the Arctic shuttle, and I'm like, how did they just build a ship, and then how were they able to destroy that ship with their technology? Mm-hmm. That was what I was thinking a long time ago, but I've watched it more recently. Like, okay, it makes more sense that it's the human shuttle. It's not meant to go fast. That's why they were.
And they had a warp drive that was like somehow still working.
Yeah, and then they souped it up with Borg technology. I'm like that. It made more sense on this viewing because but thinking back before I watched it, I only had like vague recollections of it. So I mean, it was definitely fun to revisit. I mean, it's still first two seasons of Enterprise. The first two seasons are kind of like hit and miss. Season 3, I like the Xindi arc. A lot of people hate it. It's season 3, you either hate or you love.
I think for me, it just dragged out too long. That's my only problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, it did drag a little bit, but there's some really good episodes in the Xindi arc. And then season 4 of Enterprise is just
wonderful.
Absolutely, probably the best season of Star Trek ever.
Absolutely,
great stuff happens in season 4. So,
yeah, what are you gonna do? Humble beginnings.
Just plug your ears to the song, or fast forward it, or
I fast forward it all the time. Just like
yeah, and how come some shows on Netflix like it'll just skip the entire first part?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do that.
I know
it doesn't do that on Star Trek because Star Trek has the stinger before.
Mm-hmm.
There's actual part of the show before the.
That's true.
Yeah,
there's like sometimes the stingers are long. Sometimes they're like
This one was a little bit longer, not
Yeah.
super long, but just that beginning part where they're going through the thing in the ships. You're like, where is this going? Because this doesn't look like anything like Enterprise.
Yeah, it's really weird. Some of them are long. Some of them are minutes long, and I think the shortest stinger ever is on Voyager, the species 4782 episode, where they're like, "We will be assimilated." No, you will be assimilated, and then you see 3 more cubes blow up, and then that's all there was. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that's a short stinger, but that's effective. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
3 Borg ships get taken out like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the stingers vary in length. So I mean, that's why you have
That's
to
why
watch
you
the
have to
song
suffer
every
through the
single
song.
time.
Right.
Well, hopefully, Star Trek Discovery will just be orchestrated. Hopefully,
I hope there's no Borg in Discovery.
I hope there's not.
There
either.
really shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
Unless a different team goes like, oh, we'll unfreeze these things.
Oh, jeez. More Borg popsicles.
I mean, who knows what they're gonna do with Discovery?
All right. Well, any other things we want to say about this?
Nope. It was a good, short little romp through some teenage aliens, and it made more sense than Acquisition to me.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. It did. I mean, you can tuck it into history without being like, why didn't they not know about the Borg?
Yeah, that made it. Yeah. But I mean, they both have holes, but I think this one's continuity stronger than Acquisition was.
I agree completely.
Which we do need to talk about Acquisition, because it's, even though it's not continuous, it's still kind of a fun episode.
Yeah, it's a fun episode for sure. All right, Dave.
How about you?
I said my piece.
She's done. She's done with
Drop the
Enterprise.
bag.
She just walks out the door.
It's like, don't drop the bag. It's gonna hurt our ears. Where can we find you online, Holly?
Oh, well, you can find me on Facebook at Holly Michelle V. And I'm also on Twitter, but I don't really use it. So Facebook it is.
Facebook
it is. And today we learned that more stuff's going to be coming from Artful Gremlins. They're working on their first scripted show, which you'll be part of, and I think I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be coming out soon, so you'll be hearing more of Holly more frequently, hopefully, on that show. With us, you can find find us online at Synthaholics.com or at Synthaholic Duo on Twitter. All our music is brought by Warp 11. You can find them at warp11.com or Warp 11 on Twitter. I personally am David_J_Duncan.
I'm Blackbird 2004.
Where can they find us online as far as listening to us?
Man, you can do iTunes, you can do Stitcher, you can do Google Play, you can go to YouTube. I mean, we are everywhere. If you get podcasts, we are there.
I wish you could see his head bobble right now.
It is.
It's wonderful.
He is.
I'm like
Very excited.
jazz riffing here. Yeah, so we're everywhere. And please, if you have a moment, go on to iTunes and rate and review us. Those rate and reviewing us helps more people see us, so they more people can find us.
So important. If you listen to episode 1, our Dune episode, we read a letter from Joe DePinto, and he used an app called Podcast Addict, and apparently we were 4th in that app.
I wonder what how that
I don't know.
algorithm came up.
I don't know how we got 4th on Podcast Addict, but I checked in iTunes, and if you look for Star Trek podcasts in iTunes, we're nowhere near the top. We need you guys to go and write reviews and give us stars. That way, if people want to find us, they can find us, because iTunes is probably where at least 50% of people find their podcasts. And if 50% of our potential audience, can't see us, then they won't know unless you tell them.
Yeah.
So you could tell them, or you can give us ratings and reviews, and we would love that.
Yeah, give us 5 stars. Give us 5 stars if you like us, and write a little thing. Hey, like the podcast. Keep up good work. You don't have to write a paragraph.
Yeah, or just tell or a quick sentence of why you like us on the iTunes store. That would be fantastic as well.
And hey, if you don't want to do that, another thing you could do is maybe throw us a buck over into our Patreon. Patreon at Synthaholics or
patreon.com/Synthaholics.
Yeah, Synthaholics. What's a buck? A buck a month. You spend more of that on coffee and fast food. Come on.
Timbits.
Timbits, yeah. Donuts.
If you're local to the Western New York region.
Yeah, I mean, so throw us a buck. Helps us out. It keeps the cost down for us. And and another thing we do enjoy is send us a letter, send us an email.
At synthaholics@yahoo.com. We love reading those on the air. If you heard our 100th episode, we did a whole episode based around the audio clips people have sent in and emails. So we would love to do another episode devoted completely to fan stuff. So if we get enough content in, we can build a whole episode around.
And definitely, if you have a suggestion of a topic you want us to talk about, an episode or anything about Star Trek related, definitely let us know, because we would love to muse on anything. If there's something that you really want to hear, we're open to that. If you have any criticisms or praise, let us know as well.
Yeah,
if you hate me, you want me to jump off a bridge somewhere, let me know.
We'll find a low one so he doesn't get hurt.
And that's we do enjoy getting. I really do enjoy when we get an email coming in. It's pretty fun. So it's good stuff.
Oh, thank you all so much for listening. Live long and prosper, everybody. Have a great day, evening, and morning.
Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink and we'll cry till we laugh. And we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
Whenever you happen to be listening to this, take care.
Toodles.
I was just going to say that.
Say it again, but sexier.
I don't think you can make Toodles sexy.
No.
Toodles.
Oh, that was fun.
You guys should encourage people to send you more audio clips.